Hello and welcome. It is Standard Super League time once again. I'm joined by Owen Turkenwald. How you doing, Owen?
I'm doing awesome.
We have a fine tradition here of bringing in the guy that top four the GP. Let's see how many weeks we can keep this going. But Detroit was pretty good for you guys. I mean, the top four has to feel pretty good, even if you didn't manage to finish the whole deal.
Oh yeah, I'm quite happy with the finish. Our pools on day one were excellent, and we did very well. We went 9-0. Our pool on day two was quite poor. We were really unhappy with it. So to scratch together a 3-2 with the cards we had, I'm proud of those guys, and I think we did a good job. Also, no shame in losing to the team we lost to.
Oh yeah, that semifinal matchup was insane. It's Hugh, Huey, and Reed against Luis, Efro, and Ben Stark. What a crazy matchup!
Yeah, I mean they're all great players. Like you can't expect to be a big favorite against people who are all three Hall of Famers. So what can you do?
I know, but this would actually look like we're live, Josh. I mean, I've got the stream up and I don't see anything. Oh, great. We are live.
A
Okay,
fine
problem on my
question.
end. Owen is here. Owen is one of the best in the game right now, number 13 ranked, and that's it's actually a little low for you the way you've been sort of ebbing and flowing around the standings for the last couple of years.
Yeah, most of last year I was near the top, and it's been a steady but slow decline. And I'm in 13th now, which is not horrible.
No, hey, you're going to Worlds. I mean, I got to think that mission number one is to get platinum. Mission number two is to get yourself qualified for Worlds, and you'll be there next weekend at the World Championships.
Oh yeah, that has been the focus of my attention for quite some time now.
Yeah. Who are you working with? Walk me through the Worlds prep process for you.
I am currently preparing with Mike Segrist, Alexander Hayne, and Jacob Wilson.
It's a nice crew.
Yeah, all excellent players. I think they're all great.
Indeed. So many great players at that GP top four last weekend too. I
Oh,
did want to ask you about the draft. We didn't get to see your draft specifically, but can you talk to us about how that semifinal against Luis Efro and Ben actually played out?
well, the draft was a bit lame because it started out with Luis opening Chandra, and not only is that a super good card and just powerful mythic rare, but it's also a transform card. So we all had to just sit there and look at Luis take a Chandra first pick. It was actually especially interesting because there was a debate about what to do if a flip card was opened because
Okay.
first of all it was an untimed draft, which is not usually the case for a premier level booster draft, but also for like what happens if someone opens a flip card and nobody wants to take a card. If we all just stare at each other and nobody picks a card, who has to pick first? And turns out there just are rules in the floor rules. They just tell you exactly how it's supposed to go.
What's the answer?
It's in descending seat order. Like everyone has is seated in a certain order where they have a number. And
Hilarious.
Dennis was number one, Reed was number two, Luis was number three, I was number four, you froze five, he was six. So
Okay.
and we needed these numbers for if. Well, first we made a rule that if a person were to open a flip card, they just have to pick first. Just a gentleman's agreement. So there's no shifty-eyed staring at each other waiting for somebody to take a card. But then the numbers were used for if two people opened a flip card in a pack, and neither one of those people wanted to pick first. So it was
Wow.
really interesting because I'm sure that doesn't come up very often.
No, but Luis did in fact take the Chandra.
Oh
And
yeah.
then somehow nobody went into red except Luis?
Well, Reed was passing to him and did go red, but it just happened such that most of the packs that were opened had two playable red cards in them. And so, despite the fact that Reed was taking the better of the two red cards most of the time, there was just
Mm,
still a red card left for Luis to take.
okay.
And if you look at his deck, he posted it on Twitter. It's a lot of red cards, but it's not a lot of great red cards. He has a Chandra, and he has like two or three cards that are really good that were high picks, and then most of his cards are just like 2 and 3 drop creatures with some combat tricks, which is certainly fine and good enough to win with. But it's not like everyone at the table went, "Nope, I'm not playing red. You take all the red cards," because that's just not what happened.
Yeah, it did seem like I mean Ben Stark. had kind of a decent red seat, and he thought about being red, but then he backed off because he didn't want to be cutting his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Well,
know
the
if you got
thing
it.
is, given the nature of team draft strategy, you want to be the color of the person that you're passing to so that they get the second best card in every pack. So we kind of knew going in that if someone opened a transform card, since they're all mythic rares and great cards, like if I opened any of the transform cards, I was going to take it, no matter what else is in the pack, because they're just too good. They're simply too
Okay.
good. The fact that you know that you're going to go red when you take a Chandra, and the person that's passing to you is highly incentivized to also go red so that they can screw you over, it doesn't matter because the card you get is so good that it's just worth it. And so that's basically what happened. Uh, if you're Ben, you're also incentivized to go red because you know that Reed wants to go red. And if you can screw Reed over, who's passing to Luis, who's going red, then you're in an even better spot. Basically, as long as all of the people at the table aren't drafting the same color, you want to be the one furthest downstream because you have the most control over what happens to the other players.
Yeah, Ben wound up dabbling in it, especially early in pack one, but then it didn't quite work out. He got a super strong blue read. I mean, I mostly know Ben's draft because that's the one we get to watch on air.
Mm-hmm.
But he got a super strong blue read coming back the other direction, and just I think he the only blue drafter once the dust settled.
I think Eric was also blue.
Oh, Eric was blue. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to see a lot of the matches because the games went so quick. But
that wasn't really a product of people not wanting to go blue. It was just the blue cards in the draft that were opened were not anything special.
yeah, when he moved in right at the beginning of pack two, and it didn't feel like he had seen a big signal in pack one. It's just like he happened to hit a pack where there wasn't anything for his deck, but there was a blue card, and then it was, oh, and here's a blue card. Oh, and here's a blue card. And just the floodgates opened in pack two and kind of hooked him up.
Yeah, team draft is not at all like a normal draft in which you're trying to figure out what the open colors are because there usually just are no open colors. It's a bit of a dogfight. It's like, oh, I'm gonna take this card from my deck and I'm gonna take this card away from your deck. And so usually at the end of the first pack, most people's stacks in front of them are just a random mix of good cards and with not a whole lot of synergy or good mana curve going on there. So you have to just try to do your best on the fly.
All right. Well, it was a great finish for you guys. Let's talk some standard though. We've got Paul Rietzl, who's brought this red-white prowess deck to the table. Not really a deck I've seen a lot of before. It looks kind of superficially like a heroic deck, but none of the two-drop heroic creatures. He's got Abbot of Carol Keep instead. You were on the receiving end of this deck last week. Have you thought about where you think it fits into the world and how real it is?
Well, I got mangled last week by that deck. I truly got clowned.
Yeah.
It wasn't super competitive. He just ran me over. It's a cool deck. It's certainly there. In no way would I say it's a joke deck. It's certainly playable, but it seems like it's doing a lot of the things that Mono Red is doing, but not quite as fast, and doing a lot of the things that Blue White Heroic is doing, but not quite as consistently, or the top end of it's not quite as good. It's fine deck, but I think even if you asked Paul to speak candidly, he would say that it's not going to be a tier one strategy that is going to
Just
take
not consistent enough. So what's the issue that keeps him from being tier one? Is it just consistency?
Well, just like what I said, if you want to get like a really fast, aggressive draw with abbots in your deck, you're gonna win more by playing a one color deck, so you have a little bit better mana and having the Eidolon and maybe Searing Blood. And if you're going to use God's Willing to protect a big creature, the heroic ability is the way to do it, and not the prowess ability. You can't build a prowess creature because the prowess goes away at the end of the. Anyways.
Well, it was certainly fun to watch him mangle you last week. No offense.
Oh yeah.
And I'm very curious to see how this works out against Sam this time. So Monastery Swiftspear, that seems like the best of the one drops, right? That's where he wants to start.
Unclear if it's better than Favorite Hoplite, but it's certainly good.
I don't know. Maybe it's just this version of the deck. If you could play 8 Swiftspear, there might not even be some of the other features.
Well, he's got a good start here. 1 drop, 2 drop, both prowess. So the thing about heroic is when you have one heroic guy, it's almost always better than a prowess guy. But if you have a heroic guy and a prowess guy, they start to stack because you target your guy and then they both get an ability. So having multiple prowess creatures is kind of what you want.
Indeed. Now I get a look at Sam's hand. It doesn't look the fastest. I mean, Ultimate Price took down the Abbot. That helps, but now there's two Swiss Spears coming over.
Yeah, it was good to get the ultimate price in there before God's Willing was available.
Sure.
Certainly why he main phased it. There's some incentive to wait because all might go crazy with the Titan Strength or Team or Battle Rage, but it would just be optimistic. I think Sam made a good play there.
You know, he'd probably prefer to trade this Herald off in combat, right?
There's no way he wants to sit there with it in play, given that he has pain lands out there, and yeah, he's going to block immediately. That's the purpose of casting this creature. 5 mana for the Bestow is not too useful when all of your opponent's cards cost 1 and 2 mana.
We've actually had Paul forced to pause and think. Is that where we're at?
Unbelievable. He has
I know.
to consider his options. And yeah, he left it out there to eat up on Sam's life total before he can block with it. Which is a good play. He knows that Sam is not going to attack with it, and letting him block with it means he has to use his trick, and then the Herald's not in play anymore to inflict any more damage.
Yeah, Sam with no land that comes into play untapped, so Siege Rhino will have to wait a turn. Draw Lucas Command, though, pretty solid draw, I think.
Yeah, any amount of interaction you're going to be happy with.
Declines to attack. He's got to play defense.
I highly doubt we're going to see it come up in the game, but Sam has the option of using Dromoka's Command to make himself sacrifice an enchantment, so if that Herald gets too out of hand, he's got an answer.
And now Herald blocks Swiss Spear, right? So one Prowess trigger doesn't actually create a winning combat?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, Titan Strength is targeting what? The blocked creature?
I have to imagine it's the block creature. He does want to kill it now. There's a big enough reason to do that. And Sam is going to get blown out by this Strived Ajani's Presence.
Oh, he's got Strive for the Ajani's Presence. I forgot about Strive.
He just hit his 5th land drop to play his spell and have the Strive available. It's not going to do a whole lot. The total damage of the Scry here of the Strive is 1 damage, but it's nice that it's going to be relevant.
That is hilarious. So yeah, Dromoka's Command here is Herald trying to take down Seeker of the Way and win the fight against the Swift Spear, but yes.
It's not going to be much of a fight because he's going to let Paul gain extra life. The Seeker's going to fight and get lifelink and then deal damage and get life.
Wow. Yeah. Suddenly Sam's board evaporates. Paul's board is great, and Sam is at 1.
No, Sam, play a Siege Rhino. Play your Siege Rhino, Sam. Nope, not with Caves of Koilos, you can't.
Little Darwin wins indeed. What a blowout.
Wow, and turns out the Strive 1 extra damage made it so that Sam was at 1 instead of 2, could not tap Caves of Koilos to play Siege Rhino, could not go up to 4 life to try to block and survive.
Crazy.
Pretty good.
Wow, that was insane. Now, we've been talking a lot about Paul's deck. I do want to talk about Sam's deck a little bit, because, I mean, it is odds on aggro. Is it just a week behind? It feels like at the Grand Prix this weekend, not the Grand Prix you were top 4ing, but the one on the other side of the ocean, everybody's odds on aggro is suddenly a Hangerback Walker deck.
Yeah, it looks to be at least a week behind. It still has 4 copies of Rakshasa Death Dealer, which...
Yeah, my first glance at the London list, it felt like the Death Dealers turned into Hangerback Walkers. And then suddenly that was good enough to put 4 of these into the top 8 and another one in 9th.
And it wasn't such that they needed to add Hangerback Walker and had to cut a card, and it just happened to be Rakshasa Death Dealer. Rakshasa Death Dealer wasn't the odd man out. It got cut because it was too bad. Searing Blood, Wild Slash, and Polukranos is being played. It's just too small, too weak. Does not stand up well to Languish.
Got it. So just not the creature that it was 6 months ago?
Yep. It's hard on the mana, too. It's like you have to have all green and black sources. You can't draw planes and hope to have it work out. I've actually found that the Abzan decks, you just want to draw planes in a forest so that you don't take damage from your land and lose to Exquisite Firecraft off the top.
All right, here we go again. Paul's got the crucial 1 creature. Sam does not have a removal spell.
Yeah, but with Sam's hand, I fully expect him to just block this Swift Spear. You want to make it so your opponent uses their mana. Mm-hmm. You don't take they can't develop their board. You just want to trade off so that you can get in a clean play Fleece Mane and Thoughtseize on the next turn.
I'll
I
buy
mean,
that.
there might be some chance he sees the Siege Rhino and says, "Whatever, I'll just race." But
Well, decision
we'll
time.
see. I guess it's a little closer than I made it out to be. I think I would lean towards blocking here. Given that you have the Llanowar Wastes and Caves of Koilos both dealing you damage, Thoughtseize in your hand, and no fourth land for the Rhino, I think you just want to prolong the game until you can hit that land.
That is what Sam decides to do. He expected a trick. The trick
Yeah.
turns out to be Titan Strength, which is actually not that bad for... No, that is bad for Sam.
No, it's bad, yeah. And it had to be Titan Strength. Paul didn't even play his second land to represent a different card. He just
Right.
attacked with a mountain. He says, I have mountain, what do you have?
Yeah, so Titan Strength does trade for Fleece Mane lying cleanly, exactly how Paul wanted it to work out.
Yeah, and if you're Sam, you can't be happy. With that much redundancy in your opponent's hand, Thoughtseize is doing what you want Thoughtseize to do.
How surprised are you that Sam still has Thoughtseize in his deck after sideboarding here?
Not surprised at all. If I was Sam, I would absolutely have Thoughtseize in my deck against this matchup. Very often the games play out in a way where your opponent has one creature that they've gone all in on and they hold up God's Willing and they say good luck to you. And if you can stitch together a turn when you can go Thoughtseize, then Ultimate Price, that's how you win. Plus, certain cards in the deck are really unique. Like, if they have one creature and you can Thoughtseize it, you're probably going to win. If you can take away their Teamer Battle Rage, now chump blocking is an option where previously it wasn't. And same for God's Willing.
All right, Sam does have that Thoughtseize Fleece Mane Lion turn. His lands are continuing to cause pain, though. Mana Confluence is the fourth land for Siege Rhino all of a sudden.
Yeah, it looks like it'll only be tapped one or two times in the game, so remarkably similar to a pain land anyways.
All right, Paul goes for Abbott, does not attack into this Fleece Mane. Now Sam's got his Rhino.
I wonder if Sam should attack here. It looks like that's exactly what went through his mind. He said, ooh, land, I'm going to play Rhino. Wait, maybe I should attack. And it looks like he's not going to attack. Which I think is fine. He's 1 mana away from threatening Monstrous, so as long as it doesn't die, it's going to be quite good for him.
Yeah, makes sense.
A Monstrous line, not game over against this deck like it is against some other decks in Standard, but it's still quite good. Thing is, normally you would want a Monstrous of Fleece Mane, and you could say, haha, you can't get through my defenses anymore, but Paul still has those God's Willing, which can give pro green and make his guy unblockable for a one-shot.
Now, does Paul have any decent attacks here? It's a lot of tricks.
Well, he can't attack with both. Despite the Titan Strength, it's not going to end well for him. He's thinking about maybe if he should scry before casting Dragon Mantle, or if he can Dragon Mantle to draw an untapped red source, and maybe that will have a profitable attack somewhere. Wow.
Shove him into the red zone, says Paul Rietzl.
If I'm Sam, I think maybe I like the Rhino on the Swift Spear a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, he knows half of Paul's hand from that Thoughtseize, but not the most recent half.
I guess he takes less damage this way, so this is better.
Abbott's going to, what, trade with Rhino here? And Paul can save it if he uses his God's Willing?
He's going to save it.
Yep.
Which is a great play, given both of their hands. Sam has nothing. He doesn't want to save a God's Willing for a removal spell that doesn't exist.
And now the Temple. Saving Dragon Mantle for next turn. Ooh, the Rhino off the top. That has to be good.
Excellent draw.
Better than going Monstrous on Fleece Mane, I assume.
It looks that way.
And Sam's Hellbent, so Paul's got... Oh, no, he goes Monstrous.
Yeah, it's a fine play. I mean, it's so close either way. As long as he doesn't die to a Teamer Battle Rage, it's going to be fine that he got that out of the way. Ooh. Dragon Mantle into Defiant Strike.
Not bad.
Which means not only 1 Prowess, but 2 this turn. 3 with the Presence.
Fleece Mane can still beat up... Well, I mean, he can force feed Johnny's Presence, right? By blocking Abbott.
All right.
Wow, Paul does this pre-combat. He wanted to see what the card was.
Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to draw. A Dragon Mantle would be a good draw. Maybe another Swift Spear would be a good draw. Yeah, that would be a great draw. He was trying to draw a Dragon Mantle or a Swift Spear to cast.
But came up with a temple. Land number 5, not exactly ideal.
If you're
And
Paul, you
now-
have to attack because
Yeah, you see so many prowess triggers. You can't let him go to waste. He's
Yeah.
going to have to presumably use the Johnny's Presence to save the Abbot.
oh yeah, it looks that way to me. And you get to pump off the Dragon Mantle, so
Fire breathing. Take it.
yeah.
Sam is down to 6 now, but Paul's out of cards.
Paul's outs are Teamer Battle Rage plus God's Willing for unblockable and kill. Teamer Battle Rage is pretty good with the Dragon Mantle. The
Yeah.
Fire Breathing with the Double Strike Trample.
Swift Spear is
Throw it out
good enough. Yeah, and Paul knows it. He's already done this math. But Sam's also all in. Like, they're both just drawing off the top at this point.
Yeah, Sam used all of his cards to not be dead. And so it's just a stalemate.
Lane number 6 for Paul somehow feels unluckier than Sam's 7.
Self-inflicted wound is not what he was hoping to draw there. It's not much more useful than Paul's Battlefield Forge. That's a good
price. Yeah, that's a great draw. Man, 2 of the best here. Paul and Sam. They're actually testing together for Worlds. If that 2 Team Ultra Pro members, both ranked in the top 10 right now.
Do you think they've played this matchup before?
I don't know. I mean, not necessarily. It depends if Paul thinks the deck's real, right? Or if it's just something to goof around with.
Do you think they stopped playtesting together with anticipation of the Standard Super League coming up to not taint it?
I do not.
Wow, all lands on both sides.
Crazy.
I mean, the ultimate price does something, but I'm not quite sure what yet.
Sam's going to go ahead and fire it off. Get the
I
Dragon
wonder why would he choose to do that?
Well, if Paul draws a God's Willing, that could then counter the ultimate price, right? Also, it looks like Sam decided he wanted to start attacking.
Yeah, but his creature has trample, so surely he could attack.
But it's a trade. Like, you Fire Breathe Swift Spear, you get to trade it for the Rhino.
That's true. I guess he also thought that he wouldn't attack if Paul had a protection spell. So he wanted to figure out what Paul had and then decide whether or not to attack. It's a good play. Yeah, another creature's good. I like attacking.
Yeah, it feels like Sam might have turned the corner. They
Wow.
both drew a bunch of lands, but
If Paul had just cast his Center Soul to attack for 3, Sam would have been unable to cast the Santa Penza because the Center Soul would have rebounded and dealt 3 more.
oh, crazy.
It almost certainly would not have been correct to do so, but just
Yeah.
interesting.
Psychic play is not usually the correct play.
He's going to win if he draws Teamer Battle Rage. He's not going to win if he draws almost anything else. Titan Strength would also result in a win.
Is it too late? Well, I guess he can block.
He goes block, save his guy, rebound, give his guy unblockable.
Top deck Battle Rage.
Pray for Battle Rage or Titan Strength or Dragon Mantle too.
Yeah, that's the play. Here's the Center Soul.
There's likely even other combinations of cards that would win too.
Is Sam going to wind up playing a second Anafenza to effectively give it Vigilance?
I would, and it's not even in. Oh, what happened? Did he name the wrong color on the Center Soul?
What happened?
Well, his creature blocked, and Center Soul happened, and then his creature died.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Yeah, that was a misclick. Well,
Seems like Sam had it anyway, unless Paul had a miracle sitting on top of his
Yeah.
library.
he could have drawn Dragon Mantle, Titan Strength, Teamer Battle Rage, Artful Maneuver, which is only a 1-of, but probably had about 15% chance to win the game.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we will never know.
So, game 3. You've seen these play out a couple of times. Who do you like?
Well, it seems like Paul's pretty clearly advantaged because every card in his deck costs 1 and 2, and all of Sam's cards cost 2, 3, 4. And Sam, It's not like a normal matchup of cheap spells versus expensive spells, where if the expensive spell deck gets to play all of its expensive spells, it's going to win. Because Sam doesn't have like a Cruel Ultimatum or a Wrath of God. He just has 3/3s and 2/2s and 4/5 rhinos. He has to hope to get his cards all into play fast enough before he's dead and have some amount of interaction.
Makes sense. It certainly doesn't hurt Paul's chances that he's on the play for game 3.
Oh no. That's what he wants.
All right. How many cards is Paul actually starting with? Looks like he's mulligan down to 6. Yeah, Paul says good time for a brutal misclick. 6 cards apiece. Sam with, I mean, you keep those 6.
Oh yeah, it's good that he can play lots of cards really fast. It is not good that he's going to have to use Mana Confluence to do it.
Yeah. Favorite Hoplite for Paul.
Ooh, Urborg's going to help mitigate that damage. Thing is, you would want to put Warden of the First Tree out before you use your mana playing reactive card, so you have an attacker, but it's just such a low power attacker that it's questionable what he wants to do here. I like casting the Duress, and I think I would use Mana Confluence to do it. Because you could use Urborg to Duress. I think you just want to hit like a Dragon Mantle, like a card that is really good for your opponent, but you can't use Duress on it later. Like if you knew your opponent had all cards that he couldn't play next turn, you wouldn't cast it, but because of the possibility of something like Dragon Mantle or Defiant Strike, and getting the Warden out there, it doesn't even really do anything. Temple's a fine play, but he just doesn't want to take as much damage, I think is what's happening there.
He probably figures Duress is still pretty good on turn 2. Oh, the ride down for Paul. Funny card. I mean, I think it fits the deck. Would have been good at pretty much any time last game. Yeah, Sam now set up to have a pain-free Warden, and another comes into play tapped land. Paul's play is what? Abbot, see what it is before you then play a land?
Well, the problem is if he plays the Abbot, he only has a red mana available, so if he hits a 1-mana white card, he can't play it.
Sure.
It's a bit better next turn because he can cast it with the Mana Confluence open. He's not going to use his mana as well, and he's not going to deal damage as quickly, but...
So what's his play then? Just Defiant Strike?
He's lining up this Defiant Strike to try to
draw.
Well,
if he's going to Defiant Strike anyway, I don't think he expects Sam to block, so he just wants the information pre-combat. Could be a Swift Spear, right?
Yeah, he wants to draw a Scry Land, a Swift Spear, Dragon Mantle. I like this play.
Yeah, and then Titan Strength. Just smash, get a counter, get a Scry.
Getting a counter on your creature this turn is way better than getting a counter on it next turn. You're going to deal 1 now and a couple more damage later. You get to Scry to improve your draws. He's looking for the here and now. He wants everything to happen immediately, and I like it.
First match of the night, but this is a pretty big game within the context of your group of death. If Paul gets to 2-0, he's actually capable of clinching the playoffs this week. He and Brad could just be 2-0 while you and Sam are 0-2, and then it's all over except seeing who wins the group and potentially gets the bye.
Yeah.
Or you could just all be 1-1 going into the final week.
Sam has played his lands in a way where the Duress may not be cast in a timely manner. He prioritized come into play tapped lands more so than playing his cards, and now he has to choose between Duress and Anafenza.
Wow, Anafenza. Wow, and he chooses Duress?
Well, he gets a rebate because he can activate the Warden of the First Tree.
Okay.
So his mana's not totally going to waste, but he would certainly rather be casting Anafenza here, given the option.
So it's Duress and Pump Warden.
Man, not a super impressive turn, but it's good.
Now, he also gets a lot of information from the Duress. Like, you want to know about Ride Down God and God's Willing for sure.
Oh.
Chooses to get rid of the God's Willing. And, I guess now he's on the hook to kind of try to play around Ride Down.
Well, one great reason to not cast Duress early in the game is because you give your opponent more draw steps to draw good cards for you to hit with the Duress.
Monastery Mentor was the card revealed with the Abbot. One of the few
Probably
we
the
can't play.
single worst card you would want to reveal with an Abbot.
Yep.
Because such a low percentage of the time you have 5 mana. Attacking. He's doing this certainly because he has Sorin. And he's just going to try to hope to get
Sorin. He also doesn't want to get blown out by Ride Down.
Well, if he had 2 creatures, the Ride Down would be less bad for him.
Okay.
Only one of them could get ridden down upon.
So he just figure Paul can't deal 12 here, and I've got Sorin for next turn?
I don't know if that's what he's figuring, but that's what he's hoping.
So do you block with the Siege Rhino, or you just take it?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? Is he one short, or am I miscounting?
Well, he gets the... Did you get the counters off the Hoplite?
I think so. Either I'm really bad at math, or he's one short. Given the hesitation on the second, he's probably trying to decide if he wants to save his guy from a protection spell or get the damage in.
Well, he's going for the damage. Yeah, Sam is tapped out. He just took it. He goes to 1. Now he's got Sorin online.
Which is lethal.
With the life, it's the lifelink, which could save his life anyway, but Paul...
He doesn't need the lifelink at all.
All of a sudden, this is just a game, right?
It's not a game. He has a 4 power creature and a 3 power creature, and the Sorin's going to pump them both. Paul's at 9.
Yeah, that's the game. Crazy. Sam Black, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. And you know what did it?
I don't care about you and your Boris Prowess deck. Let's race. Warden and Siege Rhino. They knew that Sorin had their back. Wow, what a game.
Yeah, Paul tapped his Mana Confluence to cast out of Johnny's Presence, put him to 9. If he was at 10, he might have got another turn.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny's Presence to put Sam to 1. He was 1 short, so maybe don't tap the Mana Confluence?
I highly doubt it was a mistake, given that the low number of Sorins in his opponent's deck, and the odds of him winning not trying to deal as much damage as possible are so low. But yeah, Sam was sure happy to see that.
Wow. All right, well, we can actually, I think we've got the standings file lined up. You can look at what this does to the group of death. Makes things a lot more interesting. Paul now 1-1. Sam also 1-1. Like I said, I think... Go ahead.
That was definitely the result I was hoping for.
Makes a lot of sense. And now, how do you like your match against Brad?
I think I played him a couple times last season of the Standard Super League, and we mostly split our matches, so I don't know. It'll be close.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out and chatting with us, Owen. Congrats once again on the Grand Prix finish, and good luck against Brad. And then, I'm sure about 2 or 3 minutes after that, you'll switch back into Worlds prep mode, and good luck with that as well.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a real quick break. We will be right back with round 2 of Standard Super League, so stay tuned.